You believe you choose your actions based on what you want, that your desires, your goals, and your willpower are the forces that draw the map of your life. This is the story our culture tells. It's also mostly wrong. The real architect of your behavior is a force you barely notice. Friction. Both sides of this debate, the romantics of will and the realists of design, have a powerful case. Both have consequences that define your daily reality. Where do you stand? By the end of this, you might realize the battle you've been fighting is in the wrong place entirely. The case for desire is seductive. It's the story of heroes. We celebrate the entrepreneur who works 18-hour days fueled by a vision. We admire the athlete who pushes through pain, driven by the burning need to win. Their desire is a gravitational force, bending reality around their intention. This view suggests that the world is a landscape of obstacles, and the strength of your character is measured by your ability to overcome them through sheer force of will. Your why becomes a kind of superpower. If you want it badly enough, you'll find a way. You'll wake up at 5 in the morning. You'll make the sales call. You'll resist the temptation. The outcome is a direct reflection of your inner commitment. Failure in this model is a failure of desire. You just didn't want it enough. Success is the righteous proof of your passion. It's a clean moral universe where effort is always rewarded and conviction is the only currency that matters. This feels true because we've all experienced it. That flash of motivation that makes hard things feel effortless. That surge of adrenaline when a deadline looms. In those moments, we feel powerful, in control, like the masters of our own destiny. We are the hero of our story. That sounds convincing. It's a beautiful, empowering narrative. But there's a problem with it. What happens on a Tuesday afternoon when you're tired, the coffee is worn off, and your grand vision feels a million miles away? What governs your choices then? Desire is a fickle and temporary guest. It visits in intense bursts, but it does leave. The 99% of your life is lived in the quiet moments between those bursts of inspiration. And in those moments, another force takes over. That force is friction. It is the quiet, invisible physics of your life. It's the measure of effort required to take any action. The TV remote is on the coffee table. The running shoes are in a box in the closet. The junk food is on the counter. The healthy food is in the fridge, waiting to be washed, chopped, and cooked. Each of these represents a friction differential. The path of least resistance determines your default behavior. You think you're making a choice, but most of the time you're just obeying a predetermined energy gradient. The social media icon is on your phone's home screen. Opening it takes one tap. The book you want to read is on a shelf in the other room. Getting it requires standing up, walking, and finding your page. The friction difference is maybe 10 seconds. It feels trivial, but repeat that 10-second difference 100 times a day, across a year, across a decade. That tiny, insignificant friction gap carves a canyon through your life. It's the difference between a life of passive consumption and a life of active creation. Amazon patented the one-click purchase for a reason. They understood that the difference between a sale and an abandoned cart was the friction of re-entering a credit card number. They became a global giant by mastering the art of friction removal. Your environment is a web of these carefully calibrated paths, and you walk the easiest ones. But surely this only applies to small, mindless habits. The big things, the life-defining choices, who you marry, what career you pursue, where you live, those must be driven by deep desire and conscious deliberation, right? Let's examine that. Think about how many people end up in their careers. Was it a passionate, lifelong calling? Or was it the major they fell into at university because it seemed practical and the introductory course was easy to pass? Was it the company that recruited on campus, making the application process seamless? The path of least friction often masquerades as destiny. We follow the smoothest road and then convince ourselves it's the one we were meant to travel all along. Consider relationships. The friction involved in meeting someone outside your immediate social or work circle is immense. It requires effort, vulnerability, and the risk of rejection. The friction of dating a colleague or a friend of a friend is significantly lower. The options are pre-vetted and easily accessible. How many lifelong partnerships are the result of a deliberate exhaustive search versus simple low-friction proximity? We tell ourselves stories of fate and connection to make sense of it. The underlying mechanism is often just efficient engineering. The most powerful evidence for this comes from public policy. In Germany, the organ donation rate is about 12%. In neighboring Austria, it's over 99%. Do Germans and Austrians have fundamentally different desires about helping their fellow citizens after they die? Are Austrians morally superior? The difference is one checkbox on a form. In Germany, you must explicitly opt in to be an organ donor. There is friction. You have to find the form, fill it out, and submit it. In Austria, you're automatically enrolled as an organ donor unless you explicitly opt out. The friction is placed on the selfish choice. The default is generosity. The same pattern holds true for retirement savings. Companies that automatically enroll their employees in a 401(k), requiring them to opt out, see participation rates skyrocket compared to companies where employees must actively sign up. The desire to have a secure retirement is universal. The variable that changes behavior is the architecture of the choice. The default setting is the most powerful force in the universe. It is the hidden architect, and it designs the lives of millions who believe they are designing their own. This starts to feel bleak. It paints a picture of humanity as a collection of passive automata, helplessly sliding down the paths of least resistance, carved by corporations and governments. Where is human agency in this world? What about the people who defy the defaults? The stories that inspire us are of those who overcame immense friction. The political prisoner who writes a novel on scraps of paper, the scientist who pursues a fringe theory for decades without funding or recognition, the artist who creates a masterpiece in a cold, lonely attic. Their desire appears to be an almost supernatural force, capable of defying the physics of normal behavior. Are they just a different species? Is their willpower simply made of stronger stuff? That's the easy explanation. The more interesting one is that they are playing a different game. They aren't just pushing against friction with brute force. They are consciously re-architecting it. They understand the system, so they can manipulate it. The writer who needs to finish a book doesn't just try harder. They rent a cabin with no internet. They give their phone to a friend. They create an environment where the friction of being distracted is higher than the friction of writing. They use one powerful burst of willpower up front to design a space where their desired behavior becomes the path of least resistance. The person who wants to get fit doesn't rely on daily motivation. They pay for a trainer a month in advance, creating financial friction against skipping a workout. They lay out their gym clothes the night before, removing friction from getting dressed. They join a group class, adding social friction to the act of quitting. Their willpower is a tool for environmental design. They use it like an architect, not like a laborer. A laborer uses their energy every day to push a heavy boulder up a hill. An architect uses their energy once to design a system of levers and ramps that makes the boulder move with a gentle push. This reframes the entire debate. It's a choice between two strategies. You can use your limited willpower as a consumable resource, draining it daily in a moment-to-moment battle against a poorly designed environment. Or you can use that willpower strategically in a single upfront investment to build an environment where the right choices are the easy choices. One is a constant war. The other is intelligent design. This is the real nature of agency. Agency is the act of becoming the architect. It's the meta skill of shaping your world so that your future, less motivated self will automatically do what your present, most inspired self wants. The implications of this model are profound and, frankly, uncomfortable. On a personal level, it means your failures are rarely moral failings. You aren't lazy for watching too much television. Your living room is designed to make watching television the lowest friction activity available. You aren't undisciplined for eating junk food. Your kitchen is set up like a convenience store. This is liberating, as it frees you from self-blame. It is also a heavy burden because it makes you 100% responsible for the design of your own cage. You can't complain about your lack of willpower. You have to analyze the layout of your apartment, the apps on your phone, and the structure of your social life. Your environment is a reflection of your true priorities. Implemented through friction, you are getting exactly the results your system is designed to produce. That is a difficult truth to accept. On a societal level, this changes everything about how we solve problems. Instead of asking, how can we motivate people to be healthier? We should ask, how can we design communities where walking is easier and more pleasant than driving? Instead of creating complex welfare programs that require dozens of forms and appointments, adding immense friction for people already depleted of resources, We could design systems of automatic support. Look at urban design. Adding protected bike lanes does more to increase cycling than 1,000 bike-to-work campaigns. The design is the intervention. The friction is the variable. The desire to be healthy or safe was always there. We just built a world that made it hard. This same principle, however, has a dark side. The logic of friction removal is the engine of modern exploitation. The infinite scroll on social media is a masterpiece of zero-friction content delivery, designed to bypass your conscious intention to stop. Slot machines are engineered for continuous frictionless play, eliminating the pause for thought between one spin and the next. Buy now, pay later services remove the financial friction at the point of sale, pushing the consequence into a distant, abstract future. These are not accidents. They are the products of billions of dollars of research into how to build habit-forming machines. They are architects too, and their goal is to capture your attention and your money. The same tool that could build a utopia of effortless well-being is the primary weapon in the war for your focus. The architect can be a public servant or a predator. And if you aren't consciously designing your own environment, someone else is designing it for you, and they are doing it for their benefit. We love the story of willpower. The lone hero battling against the odds, fueled by pure desire. It's the myth we build our identities around. But the data tells a quieter, more mechanical story, a story of defaults, of distances, of the number of clicks between you and a distraction. The real power is subtler. It's the agency to understand this system and bend it to your will. The ultimate expression of human will is the choice to become the architect of your own environment, to design a world where your best self can emerge effortlessly. So, look at the path you are on right now. The job you have, the habits you keep, the person you spend your time with, the path that feels like a series of your own free choices. Did you truly choose it? Or was it just the path with the fewest doors to open, the fewest forms to fill, the fewest awkward conversations to have? And who gets to be the architect of your life? You, or the people who design the defaults?